Welcome back to The Edit by Engage Creative. I am Sophie, one of the co-founders of Engage Creative. We are obviously a marketing agency specializing in marketing wedding-based businesses. And today I am joined by Andie, who runs the Bridal Journey. I have obviously known you for a while, and it's such a pleasure to chat to you because we recommend your beautiful platform so much. So we're very thankful that you're sitting down with us today because, your platform is incredible, very inspiring what you've built. You have so many followers. So, we kind of want to chat everything the bridal journey and how you got to where you are.
Thanks, Sophie. And same to you. We've seen each other around the traps here and there for many, many years. I think we might have started out at the same time.
Yeah, it's so funny. The wedding industry is such a kind of niche little market, and I've always joked that when it becomes to bridal fashion week, everyone goes over on the same flight and everyone comes back on the same flight. I'm like, it's the whole bridal industry on the Qantas flight going straight to you.
So a long stretch. It gives me anxiety. I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to go in October again, but I've been thinking about it all day. Like, can I survive? It's 16 hours. It's a long.
I went via Auckland last time, and it was actually not too bad. I prefer to just get there. But anyway, we're going. So we obviously need to have catch-ups.
Yeah.
But take us back to the beginning. How did you start the bridal journey? Kind of what inspired you to start it?
Well, essentially, I started a blog with a friend called Snob back in the day when Tumblr was around. And we were getting 1 million hits a month on our website. It was crazy. It was back in the day of Gary Pepper Vintage. And I don't know if you remember those blogs, and They All Hate Us, which was a blog that Al Ferguson had and Tash Sefton. So we had this blog called Snob, and people still stop me in bathrooms, anywhere I go. They're like, you have such a familiar face. And they're like, did you just have a blog called Snob? So mind you, this is before Instagram was even created. So we had this blog, and then Instagram came out, and we obviously jumped on Instagram, and we blew up. And at the time when Instagram was brand new, we had about 50,000 followers, which doesn't seem much now because people have millions of followers, but at the time it was big. So we had this huge brand, and I remember at the time we got advice from Roxy Jasenko, who had her
Like
PR.
the super house.
Yes, back in the day, and she said, you need to start getting your own content out there. And at the time, it was just, we didn't really understand it, or it seems so ridiculous now because it's such a big world, but we didn't really know influencer marketing would take off. So we just kind of started taking photos of ourselves and borrowing clothes from different brands, but we never really, I started going to uni to do a teaching degree. She went a separate way. So we didn't take the opportunity for what it was. And at the time, I think we had more followers than Al Ferguson did with They All Hate Us. So we were huge, and we just didn't grab that opportunity at the time and run with it because we didn't foresee it. At the time, you went to university and you did like a government or community job. It just wasn't a thing that you did. So I went and did my teaching degree and became a teacher. And at the time, I realized that there was no wedding blogs that were kind of cool. There were Brides and Junebug and Martha Stewart.
Cosmo,
real heavy American kind of like that real traditional kind of bridal blogs, and the Lane, but the Lane did like over created, it was a lot to do with like table settings and beautiful setup weddings. And I was like, no one's doing anything like cool of showing like all the cool weddings. Like Vogue did it, but then Vogue was still limited. So I started the Bridal Journey. That's just something I wanted to do while I was teaching, because I always really loved doing Snob and that site. When I was a kid, I used to cut up like magazines and like repaste them into my own magazine. It's a bit of a loser.
It's so funny you actually did teaching, because I actually enrolled in teaching back in the day because my parents and my grandfather like literally sat me down. They were like, look, I ended up going to White House, which is a fashion institute, but it's so funny because I was this like pathway of like, what do I do? And I enrolled in teaching. I knew where I was going to go. And then I ended up pulling the pin and went to obviously fashion. But it's so funny because my parents were like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to fashion, like, what, like, and then you're doing marketing. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. So it's so funny because very similar to
Yeah.
you with
Well,
teaching.
what else do you do, right?
Yeah.
And I applied for White House and I applied for RMIT fashion, and they used to accept like 15 people a year and have like 300 applicants. And I got down to like the top 30 or something, and then I just couldn't quite get into that course. But you know, it happens for a reason. So then I went into teaching, and I just started the Bridal Journey. And I was like, I'm just going to see how this pans out because I love posting. I wasn't yet married. I was like, start creating like a bit of a mood board. Anyway, I was also putting myself up to a challenge to see if I could make it as big as Snob at the time. And then it just built naturally from there. So I started with the Instagram. I was teaching. I moved down to Torquay. I stopped teaching, and then I went into social media marketing. So I worked at a PR agency called AMPR in Melbourne for a couple of years, doing their social media. So then I was just building up the Bridal Journey on the side. It was always a bit of like a passion project, fun thing to do. Then I was like starting to make money through advertising through it. And then it just built and built and built. And then only 12 months ago, I left to do this full time. So I've got a bit of a little team of like 4 people, and it's a bit more serious. It was kind of the point where, oh, do I leave all my social media marketing clients and do this full time? Because I was managing all of it quite but yeah, I left all the social media clients about 12 months ago and decided to do this full time.
Did you have a clear vision, or were you just like really kind of trusting your instincts and your kind of aesthetic, and that was your vision for the Bridal Journey?
Yeah, well, from day one, I really wanted the Bridal Journey to be more than an inspiration page. So I wanted it to be a platform that really championed like creativity and connected brides with the best in the industry. And I also knew I'd wanted to do something a little bit more than have it as like a blog and magazine. Like I loved magazines and I love Vogue, and I kind of wanted it to be like that media kind of magazine. Right? Yeah. So I think yeah, I just really wanted to be that media platform. I wanted a vendor directory, and then naturally I started the podcast from that, and then the marketplace came. But I definitely had a vision for it from day one. I wanted to do it full time, and I wanted it to be like this. I love like Mia Freedman and Mamma Mia, and I want this to be, you know, the wedding version of Mamma Mia, or
So cool.
I knew I wanted to do it, and I just knew I had to build this community up first before
Yep.
I could make something of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, was there any kind of key strategies that helped you grow organically? Obviously, organically is so hard at the moment, but was there any kind of key strategies that you implemented?
Well, it's funny because I only just started investing in paid advertising about a month ago. Everything is very organic. So I've got
That's
330K,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, on Instagram. And I did a LinkedIn post about this a couple of months ago, just being like, I'm so proud, did this all organically, never invested in SEO, never boosted a post, never put any money into advertising. And someone just said, you're leaving money on the table. Like, great that you've done this organically, but how much more, like, it would be so much more amazing if you just invested in SEO and paid advertising and Google ads, and especially because we've got our marketplace. So I just started that a month ago.
And are you seeing results?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The website traffic's just doubled, like tripled even. More people on the marketplace listing, blah blah blah. But it's still early days. So in terms of like strategy and what I did to help grow, I guess like my time with Snob and then doing social media clients, I would say that I have a bit of a knack for understanding what content my community wants.
I also think that you have a very clear vision and aesthetic, and that's probably built into your strategy as well. Like when I go onto your page, I clearly know who your bride is, or multiple brides that you do obviously have, but it's the vision for the brand that I definitely see. And I think that when you infiltrate that with the strategy, that's when it kind of goes hand in hand, and I can really see why you've built that incredible community.
Yes, and I think it's just building those genuine relationships with those vendors. And with the shareability of weddings, so you're posting a wedding from a bride and groom and tagging every vendor, and then they're sharing it. So it's kind of just outreaching so far. Um, and our main audience is actually US based, which is funny, followed by Australia. So I think just building up it to be more global has been a goal this year as well.
Yeah, 100%. Was there a moment over, the years that you've been doing this when you were like, okay, this is the go-to destination for modern brides? Like, was it going to Bridal Fashion Week or someone kind of, yeah, was there a moment?
I think it was pretty gradual, but definitely going to New York Bridal Fashion Week. As soon as I went there and also teamed up with some key big advertisers, people started to notice.
Yeah.
I think that's when when I left, honestly, to do this full time 12 months ago and concentrated on it fully, and hired some great team members. It's when I think just it's taken a while to build it, but as soon as went to New York Bridal Fashion Week, I think people were starting to take notice, and I went there and met all these people in New York. That's when even the people who were back in Australia noticing me go to New York and Bridal Fashion Week put me on the map a little bit more, I would say.
Yeah, it's so funny because Amy and myself had our business for probably 4 years, and then we went full time now 6 years ago. But as soon as we went full time, that's when we saw results, the dedication, and the kind of, as soon as you put your full energy in, you get it out twofold. So I couldn't agree more. And I've actually seen definitely in the past year your growth 100%, like kind of change. I saw obviously you went to Bridal Fashion Week, and just your overall aesthetic and vibe has really like leveled up. So it's awesome that that kind of has been gradual, but then since you've been full time, you're seeing results.
And I guess it's like hard to have that confidence. You need people to you have your business partner. It's I think it's far easier when you've got someone else to have that confidence.
100%.
But you just need someone to kind of champion you and be like, no, you need to do this full time. I had a really great mentor. That's a very long story. But I did have a mentor, and he just said, leave it, do your full time job, go to your Bridal Fashion Week. You must go twice a year, each one, do this full time. And I think that just gives you that confidence to keep going. And also, I would say, hire people that are smarter than you.
Yeah. 100.
Your vendors that are listening, hire someone who's great at doing EDMs or your socials. I would say like a lot of vendors, they have these beautiful weddings and they don't post. And you look at the tagged photos.
100%, because they get down in the weeds of like actually doing.
Looks like, especially photographers.
Yeah.
I think they get very hung up on that particular photo and the lighting. People aren't paying attention to that, and you're missing the opportunity of posting some really great photos.
I couldn't agree more.
I just think, oh, why are you posting this? Or the photos that I would pick from the album that we perhaps are doing for our blog post from a photographer, completely different photos. Because I mean, like, I'm not a creative in terms of like what makes a good photo, but I'm looking at the overall aesthetic of what brides are interested in. It's just so different.
And it's so funny because when you go onto the tag section, say, for example, you were to post a photographer and you see that they haven't posted in like, 3 months, you're like, oh, are they still relevant? Are they still in business? Why haven't they posted? So it's so important to like keep it relevant, because I think that people actually notice that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I had Ali's studio do my wedding, and she is incredible. So talented. Never posted any photos. Like, where's all the weddings that you're doing? She's doing these huge weddings, like multi-million dollar weddings, and you don't see any photos. And I think like as a vendor, you can tell those vendors who are investing in advertising. This is so important for brand awareness. In a social media, some sort of expert to manage your website, update it with new weddings, do your socials, and then that takes the pressure off. Or be an EA, like a bit of an all-rounder.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Is there kind of some sort of content that you feel like resonates with your community and your audience?
I think definitely the real weddings, for sure. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Especially those, what we try and do is do the really personalised, individualised weddings that aren't the same as everybody else. But I also think for us, what's been working is, and what I don't think any other blogs are doing, is that real focus on the bridal wardrobe, aesthetic, engagement rings, that whole fashion piece. And what I realized when I went to New York Bridal Fashion Week is in America at the moment, there are so many bridal stylists. It's a real thing that people are investing in, and there's a couple starting in Australia. But to me, it was weird because I went from October to going back in April, and all of a sudden, every second person was a bridal stylist, or they were like huge on TikTok doing like what to wear to your reception in Greece or whatever. So I think that's something that we've kind of been doing, is kind of those bridal looks, rather than because I think a couple of other wedding blogs really focus on the aesthetics, like the styling of the table. And I'm like, how do we kind of differentiate ourselves from everybody else? So we've been having a real focus kind of on that bridal look, feel, aesthetic.
Is that what you kind of are taking to what you decide goes on the bridal journey? Like you're kind of looking at the overall vision or something that's on trend, or kind of, yeah, how do you decide?
Wing it.
No, clearly you have a great eye.
I think it's years of practice and understanding, but always just looking at your analytics and seeing what's performing for you and what your audience is engaging with. I think it's super important for anyone that's listening.
That's definitely what we do from our social media client side, is that when we pull the reports each month, we look at what has been working and also what isn't working. And when we look at what's working, we kind of can put that to the next month and be like, okay, well, clearly your audience is starting to like this piece of content or this real bride. So let's try and focus on something similar and keep building on that.
That's exactly right. And I think people are always wanting a story to tell. It's just storytelling. And you know, when I do think about a post, I'm like, where's the emotion? Are they doing something fun? Are they smiling? Is it like engaging and interesting? And that's what people want to see. And I think too, what I've been posting more is I will often go into the bride or groom's Instagram and look at their tag photos, and I like to mix up the professional photos with some of the guest photos, because I think people just love that.
Or even like Polaroids, or like the films, like the behind the scenes, like so cool.
Content creators stuff mixed in. That like people love the videos and they really want that kind of behind the scenes look into someone's wedding, and it really kind of tells that story.
Yeah. Has there been anything that has been like an unexpected challenge when you're running kind of a digital platform specifically in the wedding industry?
For me, it's definitely, obviously, A, algorithms change, B, people copying. What we do. It's often, I started like a series a couple of weeks ago, and it was kind of like a wrap up. On a Friday, I would do like a wrap up carousel of things that have happened in the wedding industry, like so and so launched this. I had to stop it, because as soon as I did that, another wedding blog copied exactly the same style, same captions, and I was like, I'm going to stop this. So I find that a challenge. I also launched my marketplace under another name called Revealed, and spent $60,000 and basically shut it down after 6 months, simply because I hired a mentor who said you need to have it under the same name, be on the same website. And that was just a huge mistake that I made. And hiring a offshore website developer thinking that it would be cheaper didn't end up that way. And you can just get, for the vendors that are listening, get their website. They can do it themselves on Squarespace or Shopify or whatever.
It's so funny, like trusting that little niggle in the back of your head in business. And like, obviously, you know, like we're two young girls that, you know, are figuring out business, but it's so funny because you are making these really important decisions around the trajectory of your business and the direction. And is this the right decision? Should I go down this? Should I go down that? And, you know, for Amy and myself, last year was one of the most challenging years in business for ourselves. And it's funny because this year I've really taken into what last year was and how can I build on that? Like it's funny because although you have these unexpected challenges, I think it also builds resilience and makes you stronger as well.
Oh yeah, you need to have challenges because it's the only way to grow. And I think, you know, you listen to all these founders speak and they always say, you know, resilience and tenacity. And basically as a founder or a business owner, putting out spot fires all day, like shit's just
Yeah.
going wrong all day, every day,
Yeah.
and you just need it. You're never going to get over it or finish it, or someone's not going to be happy with something. Just trying to maintain your integrity and authenticity, make sure that you're always doing the right thing by people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Couldn't agree more.
that's all you can do, and
And
people are
staying like laser focused to yourself, I think, as well. Like, you know, you're clearly doing such an amazing thing in your category, and like that's incredible to see. And I think that that's what Amy and I are really trying to stay laser focused this year about, like exactly who we are, the brands that we want to work with, and making sure that they're also like really aligned clients. And yeah, because it's
it's
sometimes.
hard. People come to you for, and the money looks good sometimes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Same with us with advertising. Obviously, we do have lots of brands, whether it's like engage a ring brand, invest in advertising, and in it, and it is sometimes hard to walk away.
Yeah,
That's
of course.
someone's offering a decent amount of money, and you do need to think about the longevity of your brand and
Exactly, and like you still are building trust with your followers and making sure that like they kind of believe in you and what you're putting out. So as long as it's a great alignment, I think that yeah, you do need to trust who you are as a brand. We couldn't agree more. Is there anything, I guess, in the future that you're seeing that's fun trends or kind of are exciting you, shifts in the industry that vendors should look out for?
I think it's a major shift towards individuality. I did post a story yesterday, someone on TikTok talking about weddings being a content farm now, which was a really interesting piece. I mean, I'm building my job basically off people's huge weddings. So I'm a sucker for them. But I think people are really going to have smaller weddings. I think a lot are, particularly with that bridal wardrobe, they're going to be mixing vintage and archival pieces. I think a lot of people are going to be shopping pre-loved, especially the reason why I created the marketplace is because Gen Z who are getting married now and are coming up care about sustainability.
100%.
I think that's going to be a big piece. Less is more.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to be seeing any of those big, lavish weddings. I think people are going to be more thoughtful in their design and personalizing it to them rather than just copying what they're seeing. It's just got to be crazy with you're just seeing the same thing over and over again, the same Vivienne Westwood dress, or the same, florals. Or I think people are going to go really individualized. And I think there'll be a resurgence in craftsmanship. So more couture details. People are going to be caring about the finishing and accessories, and everything's just going to be more thoughtful and
I think
individual.
where things are made as well, like that's a big topic at the moment, where things are made and kind of tariffs in the US and like all of that. Like I think that that's a real big conversation in the industry and where people are kind of seeing the future. And it does come into kind of consideration, like where does your fabric come from? And there's just this kind of funnel that it all trickles down to. So
I just think, why wouldn't you buy secondhand? Some of the dresses that people are listing on the marketplace are half the price. Sometimes they've only worn it for the ceremony, and then they
like
change
2 hours, which is insane.
So, I mean, just for something maybe with some minor defects or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of designers have been trying to open a pre-loved marketplace on their own websites. I just don't think that they're working for them because brides are going to them for something new, not something secondhand. So designers are now listing their samples or things that are, like have a minor defect on our marketplace. So I think like designers, they saw what I was doing as a bit of a competition, but now they're kind of joining it because they understand.
Or like samples that are available, or yeah, it makes complete sense. There's such a need for it because there's that other brand that is very cookie cutter, not great in terms of like a wedding marketplace, and I think that yours really fills the gap of the cool, trendy, curated as well.
We're actually currently like redeveloping our website. It's going to be completely different. So we'll have like a new vendor thing. It'll all be different.
Cool.
because it I did it on WordPress originally, like 10 years ago. I probably like fiddled around, and then anytime I've hired a new website developer, they've just continued it. And then I got advice to be like, you need to move on Shopify. Again, so I think I've spent probably 150 grand, to be honest, on website.
Oh my God.
That's more like product and service.
Of course, it's your shop front. Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, it's just like another thing, like all the wireframes and designing it all. So yeah, we're like redoing the website. It's going to be all new.
That's awesome, because I was actually going to ask you what is next for the bridal journey, but you've kind of answered my question.
Yeah. So we're just evolving it into a real global bridal destination. So, you'll expect deeper features, better TikTok, more
Love
of
it.
a video style vendor directory. So the vendor directory, I think what vendors get stuck on, because most of the time when we might outreach, because that's what we have to do, like we advertise vendors, and perhaps that's not necessarily the right way to do it, because vendors get annoyed because they get a million emails from all the different vendors. But we want to ensure that we are the best vendor directory. Once you're part of our vendor directory, you're kind of like a member, so we'll share stories, blah blah blah. But
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't end when we are, like, when our clients are kind of part of your directory. It's like a fuller community that isn't just like a listing, it's a whole heap of other things.
there's more to come with it. It's going to be built out. It might be like 6 to 12 months down the track once we get the website up. But there's a really exciting platform that we'll be doing for vendors, and those who are part of our directory get more. So it will be really good. And then we're building out the marketplace a bit more. So it's just going to be more redefined and redeveloped. And I think that's just what you need to do when you run your own business. You just need to constantly, your website's never finished.
Never.
Nothing's ever done correctly. You just need to keep redeveloping and redefining and refining and getting really smart people on board. I think I've got like a team of 4 or 5 now, but I just employed somebody to do strategy with me. I've got a meeting with today, but we're just going through everything, ripping it apart and just putting the pieces back together.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending to-do list. But as you said, it's your product, it's your service, so you need it to be the best.
Yeah. And I think too, like when vendors who are photographers or stylists or whatever, and they're signing up or paying for advertising, I think a lot of the time they don't, with ours, we don't work on, you sign up with us, you get 15, inquiries a month, and we're going to offer this to you. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. It's brand awareness. So, if you're thinking about getting engaged, you might see Ali Studio, for instance, pop up on your feed so many times before you make that decision when you get engaged in 12 months' time. And I think that's just how ours works in particular. It's more like in a brand awareness. So you're part of it. We keep posting you over 12 months, and then people might make the decision. But I think some people do understand, but a lot don't understand the value of that brand awareness. Rather than I'm going to sign up and I'll get 10 emails a month. It's not how it works.
Yeah, we always say to our clients that there's a number of different touch points that you need to have before the couple or the bride traditionally will inquire. And like advertising with you is one of them, doing paid ads, making sure that you're showing up, on social media. And there's all these different touch points that we say usually a bride would need to see you 6 times before she kind of really inquires. And so it's super important that, it's not just one thing going all in. It's pulling all of these pieces together so that in the background, in the subconscious, it is like seeing your stuff on the Bridal Journey or seeing it on Instagram ads. There's all these different ways that when they inquire, they already know that they're going to go ahead with you because they've seen it so many times. So it's such an important funnel.
Do you know who I will say who does this very well? And that is Olivia Burrows Sutherland, who Olivia and Living content creator.
Yes.
Probably most people listening or wouldn't know who she is. But I reckon it was maybe 2 years ago or a year, she called me and she wanted to know about how to advertise. What we did, like a blog post, a story, and then I saw her on Vogue, and it was obviously paid advertising. on Vogue, and she has blown up. And I was like,
Crazy. Her weddings are insane.
because people now want her, because she's everywhere, her coverage, whether some of it's paid or not paid, and she's done these top weddings, and she probably outreached those brides as well and said, hey, I'll do it for you for free. Like, she hustled hard, paid money, invested, and I was like, that paid off.
I couldn't agree more. There's so many different touch points, but I mean, like, everything is digital, and like, you know, traditionally back in the day, like when we started, it's like you get the Cosmo Bride one pager, but it's like so different now. Like, you've got to be showing up on all these different platforms to make your brand stand out. So yeah, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you kind of want to share? I mean, you have so many exciting things that I guess stay tuned and making sure that our vendors follow you or inquire.
I love people DMing me. Use me, but I really love feedback. So I want to know how to improve things, make things better. I want to ensure that I am doing the best I can for vendors, particularly those who are on our directory or vendors we love. We changed it from directory to vendors we love. I want to do better and make sure that I'm doing the best I can for vendors that invest in us. So yeah, that's basically it.
Slide into your DMs and have a combo.
Yes, please don't yell at me though.
No.
But yeah, I really love feedback, and I love the DMs. I obviously can't get back to all of them because we get hundreds a day. But yeah, stay tuned, because there's going to be another little leg to our platform that I think is going to be quite cool, and that will be different because a lot are just the same, and I just want to ensure that we're standing out, we're a bit more forward thinking, and we're doing it better than anybody else is doing. So
yeah. Well, you are. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we will, I'm sure, catch up in New York in a couple of months.
I know. See you there.
Thanks.